I've discovered it. All my experiments have...
Hello everyone and welcome back to Animation Pilgrimage, the show where Tennille and I take a look at every single theatrically released animated film in chronological order. I'm Whitney.
I'm Tennille.
And today we watched 3 films and...
It's a triple feature.
It's a triple feature and there's a good reason for that.
Yeah, so, okay, we don't normally do this.
And we probably won't do it a lot in the future, but we'll probably do it again.
Kind of depends on what you guys think of this.
Mm-hmm.
So, we decided we had 3 more South Korean films to watch. And when we took a peek at them, we saw that they were all kind of just very mid.
Very rip-off film. And,
mid to bad.
And we had poor American dubs to watch of them, so they all are very not great quality. It makes it very difficult for us to try to pay attention. And I don't feel like we really have a lot to say about any one of these movies in particular, so putting all 3 of them together means you get one sort of longer film where we can compare and contrast these a little bit.
One longer episode.
Yes, not film. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this will work out pretty well, but you'll have to let us know how you guys feel about
Yeah,
this.
if you think this is a terrible idea and you would really prefer each of these films be their own episode in the future, let us know, because we're going to have a bunch of these, like there's a bunch more of these poor dubs of South Korean ripoff films for the next many years.
Right. And had we thought about doing these earlier, you know, there might have been times where we might have like double featured some Toei films together or something like that.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it really just kind of depends on how we're feeling, if the films are like close to each other in release date, and just like, yeah. The quality. So anyway.
Either way, we watched 3 films today. We watched Savior of the Earth, Wonder of Frontier, also known as Super Titan 15, and Thunder Prince.
Yep.
So, I guess let's just kind of go through them in order. I'll give like a brief synopsis, because I don't feel like any of these need a super big synopsis, and you can chime in if you have some other interesting tidbits or thoughts on these films.
Yeah, that's another reason to group them all together, is that there's not a whole lot of history that I can find to go over for any of these.
Mm-hmm. I do want to say thank you, OK Scale, for finding all 3 of these films. In fact, they found pretty much every single South Korean dub film for us. All right, so Savior of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
You like Tron?
Yeah, hey, you remember Tron?
Yeah, how about we have a ripoff film that came out the same year as Tron?
Yeah, so Tron came out actually on my birthday, July 9th, 1982. I was not born yet, but... Mm-hmm. But yeah, Tron came out this summer, and then later this year...
Sometime later this year, maybe before it actually, who knows.
Yeah, just going off of ads or something.
Yeah, this movie came out, and it is absolutely a ripoff of Tron. So, evil Dr. Butler enters the computer and takes over all computers. And so then the main characters get sucked into the computer, and they have to fight him. The main character is a lazy layabout guy that doesn't want to work and just likes playing video games all the time.
I think this is our first video game boy.
Yeah, I think this is the first video game boy protagonist, which doesn't show up all the time, but it's common enough now that we can say the video game boy as a protagonist.
Well, I think we should explain what we mean by video game boy, and that is specifically the trope of like, oh, he might be a loser in real life, but oh man, is he an ace at video games, and actually that's what makes him cool and special, and he's gonna save the day because he's so good at video games.
Exactly. But yeah, that's the main character. They get thrown into the computer, they play some vaguely Tron video games, they have to do Pac-Man, there's a bunch of racing.
Mm-hmm. He does get a Frisbee at one point.
Yeah, he does get a Frisbee, and he fights Blue Sark instead of Red Sark.
Yes.
Also, there's a bad guy named Black John. He's a black guy.
I really don't like this name.
No. Eventually, John becomes a good guy.
Yeah.
And then he sacrifices himself, and they blow up the bad guy, and they go home, and everyone's happy, except for the girl who still hates the main character because he's a gross pervert that keeps touching her. The end. That's the movie. I don't know. Like,
John was like the coolest character, and he sacrificed himself, so... There is definitely also some Yamato and Harlock ripoff elements, very specifically the Yamato with like a Captain Harlock skull thingy on the front.
But it was piloted by the one gal from Cobra.
Yeah.
From Space Adventure Cobra?
Yeah, something.
Which also came out this year.
Which also came out this year.
The badass gal in purple with the single eye patch from the snow planet. Yeah, she was here, and she was sisters with a small, I don't know, weird robot child.
There's also some, like, aliens that show up in the background sometimes that are very E.T. And the poster...
That was not this movie.
Oh, am I already mixing things up?
You're already mixing things up.
Oh, man. Okay, well, there's an E.T. ripoff later.
Okay. I think that's all I have to say about Savior of the Earth.
Alright, so this was directed by Su-yong, who... Nope, I'm already mixing that up. We don't know him from anything else.
Okay.
Then the director for the American release is credited to Roy Thomas. Now, some people might recognize that name. I'll leave it here because actually the next film we watched was also, the animated release was directed by a Roy Thomas.
The animated release? You mean the dubbed release?
The dub release, yeah.
Okay, so you're going to talk about it more later?
I'll talk about it after we review the next one. But I guess one last thing I have to talk about before we move on is that all three of these, well, actually, I don't remember if the last one had this problem, but definitely these first two have the problem of when the credits are rolling, it's all American names.
Yeah, so it's very fake. It's like they just completely changed who supposedly worked on these films.
Right.
Because they're all just American names. None of them are South Korean at all. They're listing animators that definitely don't exist. Like, I think one of them had, like, Steve Yamato was the name.
It's like, doubt.
I highly doubt there was someone named Steve Yamato. So I don't know if these were aliases picked out by the original South Korean crew, but I highly doubt it, and it was more so just the American dubbing team decided racism was correct and covered up who actually worked on these films and threw random names in there instead. So all the names are very generic.
You should explain what you mean by that, because...
Okay. American audiences...
don't want to see foreign names on a film that their kids are watching?
Yeah, or at the very least, the people putting out these films and dubbing them believe that to be true.
Yeah.
Even if it's not necessarily true.
Or people would even pay attention.
Yeah, so they don't care about crediting the actual people that spent time and effort animating and working on these films.
Right.
So the only real credits are probably the voice actors.
And the director.
And the director, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
But everything else is presumably fake.
Either way, it's a shame to see credits get butchered like this.
Mm-hmm.
And because the point of credits is so that we know who did what and who worked on this. And, you know, I can't even count on this movie's credits to be accurate about that, and I can't even, like, share that information with you guys in any kind of way.
Yeah, so it's all fake in the American release.
Right.
Presumably.
Mm-hmm.
So we only have, like, bits of information from sparse Wikipedia articles for who actually made these movies.
Not even. I was lucky to scrounge up IMDb pages on these.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Are you ready to move on to the next one?
Yep.
All right, so next up is Wonder of Frontier, also known as Super Titan 15. The movie starts with the Galaxy Express 39 getting blown up, and I couldn't be happier. God, I do not like Galaxy Express 39.
It not only has the space train, but it has, like, the captain of the space train, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just straight up them.
And they get blown up in the first, 3 minutes of the movie. Anyways, there's a child and the child's aunt, and they have to get some sort of MacGuffin item to the kid's dad, who's on some faraway planet. Spoilers, we never actually see that guy. But they have to ride a train, so they get on the Galaxy Express 777. Showing that the 37 is better than the 39.
It's just like, yeah, alright, this is a Galaxy Express plot. You know, you got the woman and the child and the train and the space.
So they go through space, and this particular train is protected by a robot, Sentai robot made out of different vehicles, but this time it's made out of 15!
15 separate pieces that come together.
Needs 15 vehicles to make one robot.
My cynical American brain is just thinking, well, obviously you need 15 pieces so you can sell 15 different toys, but I don't know if that's how it works in South Korea, so...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that the toys are really a thing quite yet.
Yeah,
they might be...
the toy angle.
They might just be starting, but who knows. Anyways, they fly through space, and they fight the Red Star Army, and... they help a revolution on 2 different planets, and then they blow up the Red Star Army, and then the movie just ends. They don't even get to the kid's father.
Yeah, this one, literally just... That's it. That's the end. This one was probably... No, not probably. This was definitely my least favorite.
Oh, absolutely. I wrote worst of the 3.
Yeah.
This is absolutely my least favorite of the 3 films we watched.
I mean... For starters, I don't even like the thing it's ripping off.
Yeah.
But then, it just doesn't really have a plot of its own at all. There's really no characterization or anything. It's just things flying around in space. Wow. Battles. Blowing stuff up. It's dull. And then, of course, the voice acting is bad and the animation is extremely subpar. So, Anyway, this one was directed by our good old pal, Seung-cheol Park, who directed 2 other films we've seen, which is The Raiders of Galaxy, which we watched this year.
Okay.
And 77 Dan.
Oh, yes.
And then again, we have Roy Thomas showing up as the director for this... The American release. Now, Whitney, do you know who Roy Thomas is?
I'll say no. I didn't glance at your notebook to see who you wrote down on that other page. Definitely have no idea. I would have had no idea anyway. So, who is it? What has he done?
Okay, so, assuming this is the same guy, which...
Could easily not be because it's a very common name.
Yes, but if you make films in America, you have to be a part of, the filmmaker blah 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 association. I don't remember the full name of it now.
Okay.
And which essentially means that nobody's allowed to have the same name.
Really?
You didn't know about this?
No.
Yeah, the Filmmakers Association blah 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 of Hollywood is so that everybody has to sign up and you have to, pick your stage name. Which is why you get a lot of actors who maybe have different real names, but they go by their, screen name is something else.
Okay.
Because you're not allowed to have the same name. And there's a lot of reasons for that, mostly just to, not confuse credits with other people and stuff like that. So... like, I have to assume that this is the same Roy Thomas. It's just kind of wild because Roy Thomas is also Stan Lee's successor in Marvel Comics. But he's also done a lot of writing for, like, TV and movies and stuff like that. He's mostly credited with, like, the creation of Vision and other stuff. I don't really know a whole lot of Marvel things, but I was just kind of like... And the IMDb page for this movie was linking back to his IMDb page.
So
and
either
I'm like,
everyone's confused or this is the same guy.
Right. Which,
interesting.
I'm like, don't you have better things to do even at this point? I'm like you should be doing something else. But also, like, I don't know, like, maybe this was just like a small, weak project that some producer friend of his asked him to do or whatever.
It's like, hey, do these movies. Nobody cares. Just make a quick buck.
Right. Both of these were... Well, actually, I think all three of these were produced by Joseph Lai and Betty Chan, who I checked their IMDb pages as well. They're mostly just producers, so they throw money at things to make it happen. But they seem to be mostly responsible for just producing as many dubs of, like, different Asian movies and, like, kung fu movies and bringing them over to America.
That's unsurprising. Like,
Yeah.
these two people are just like, we could make a killing
Just
by just importing foreign films and putting English on top of it.
right, and just like working in this very niche market.
And then VHS boom. I'm presuming that, like, all of these
True,
came out on VHS,
true.
so they can just shit these out and get lots
Selling
of money.
to Blockbuster, you know? Yeah.
Because I did not grow up in the 80s, but I know so many stories of slightly older people that are like, oh yeah, I watched so many bad kung fu movies and stuff on VHS and stuff, and I was like, presumably this is how they got them.
Oh yeah.
Like, these people or some other people also trying to do the same thing.
The company is run by Joseph Lai, IFD Films. So yeah, we saw the credit to that
In all of these.
Anyway, that's really all I have to say about that one. We can say goodbye to Roy Thomas. If anyone can solve the mystery of whether these two Roy Thomases are the same, I would love to know.
Is he still alive?
I think so. See, now you're poking holes in my research.
That's fine.
I did a brief glance at his Wikipedia and realized it was like a whole thing. So I was like, wow, okay. You seem like a man who has better things to do.
I know, but it's the kind of thing, it's like, if he's still alive, could someone just go ask him and be like, hey, did you make these in the 80s?
In the 80s, were you a part of this? I want to know.
It's important.
It's important for the history.
Anyways, the last movie we watched was Thunder Prince. And as far as I can tell, this is less of a ripoff film to something direct, or at the very least, we don't know it.
Yeah, I couldn't see anything in particular that this was ripping from.
Because it's not Tron and it's not robots, it's just a kung fu movie.
Yeah, it's a kung fu movie.
Okay,
it actually has like a plot that it's going through with characters, and I'm like, okay, cool, nice.
I should clarify, some form of martial arts. The English dub calls it kung fu, but
Yeah.
I have no idea if it actually is kung fu. So I will refer to it as kung fu because that's what the dubbing team referred to it as, but I have no idea if that's what this martial art actually is.
It's probably more like Taekwondo, because I noticed that the director for this film also directed another movie that's about Taekwondo. So
Okay, well that seems much more likely. 'Cause
Like-
I think Taekwondo is Korean.
yes.
Okay, so this is probably Taekwondo.
Uh-huh.
Please let me know in the comments. Be nice about it. But, like, I would love to know what form of martial arts this was actually supposed to be.
Speaking of being nice about it, I just want to say, I know, trust me, we both are well aware. Whitney and I can be idiots sometimes. Please, just be nice about it. We don't mind you correcting us. Just, don't be a dick about it, because otherwise we'll delete your comments.
Yeah, especially when I don't know when certain animals live in specific countries or parts of the world. That's fine. Just let me know I'm wrong. Just don't be a dick about it. Anyways, it's the martial arts film. Mm-hmm. A kid and his father are attacked by Black Mantis.
The start of this movie is so abrupt.
Yeah,
like, it just gets into it.
Immediately attacked by bad guys.
No establishing shot, nothing.
So the dad runs away into the woods, leaves his son in a hole, and then jumps off a cliff and kills himself instead of being killed by the bad guys.
Yeah.
So the kid grows up by himself in the woods, and he befriends a monkey, and eventually an old martial arts guy comes along and teaches him better martial arts, and then the bad guys come back, and he's briefly captured at one point, whatever. He fights the bad guys and beats them up, and they win in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically. This movie has about 3 plot points, and it recycles them over and over again.
Yeah, one of the most common one is someone is poisoned.
Someone gets bit by a snake.
Kid gets bit by snake, nursed back to health by the monkey. Old man is hit by a poison dart, nursed back to health by the monkey.
And that's not a bad thing. There is a thing in films where there's like dramatic irony of like this thing coming back, or like jokes that can be set up with jokes coming back, or just like, oh wow, look at the progression of like how our characters grow dealing with this situation or whatever. That's not what this is. This is just recycling a snake attacking the characters for drama.
Yeah, the third time is the main character gets bit by a snake again.
Yeah.
And then he eats a magical ginseng root, and it makes him good at monkey martial arts.
Yeah.
I also gotta say, this movie has a lot of eye gouging. Like, a lot of eye gouging. The monkey gouges out every snake's eyes, and at one point the human does it to another human, too.
Yeah.
It's just like, why is there so much eye gouging? Anyways, they beat the bad guys, they let them live and say, be a better person, then they walk off, the movie ends. They literally just, like, jump into the air freeze frame, done.
Yeah, we're done now. Over. Leave. Goodbye. This one, I think, is... If I could put the dubbing aside, because the dubbing makes all of these way, way worse than they need to be.
Oh, yeah.
The dubbing is terrible. If I can put that aside, I definitely think this is easily the best one.
Oh, same.
It has characters. It has a plot. It's not great still. I think even with a good dub, this would be pretty, subpar. But, like, the dub, though, makes it so bad and so hard to listen to.
Uh-huh.
A lot of this sounds like it was recorded in a refrigerator.
Well, they're trying to emulate the sound of you being in a cave, so it sounds terrible. They just put a reverb on everything.
It would have been better if they did not try to capture the echoiness of a cave.
Oh, for sure.
Anyway, the director for this film was heon-myeong Hong. And then the director for the American release is Lenny Washington. See, I don't just have a problem with foreign names. I have a problem with American names, too. Who did not have any other kind of IMDb credit, so I'm wondering if this Lenny Washington is even a real person.
Probably not.
Yeah. Anyway, our director Han here made Black Star and The Golden Bat, which I don't think we've seen.
We've not seen yet.
Okay.
I know it's coming. I'm pretty sure that's one we'll be watching eventually, or if we haven't watched it yet, It's one that we had to skip because we couldn't find it. But I want to watch this film.
I saw a poster of it, and it's just Batman.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I'm like, oh no.
It's a South Korean Batman ripoff.
I love it. And then another kung fu movie, which I don't think we were able to watch either, which is Taekwondo Maruchi Arachi. I can only find the South Korean name for it. Speaking of which, the South Korean name for this film more so translates to Black Dragon King and the Guardian, which makes more sense given the plot.
Does it?
Yeah, because the bad guys who kill the dad are like the Black Dragon
Okay.
crime gang or whatever.
The English version calls him Black Mantis, but yeah.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah, it's close enough. Also,
It makes more sense than Thunder Prince, which, like, they say in the movie maybe once or twice, but I'm just like, what does that have to do
It doesn't
with anything?
make any sense.
Yeah.
Also, the monkey leads a bunch of forest animals who hold flaming torches and go and burn down the bad guy's base while they're not there.
Yeah.
Which also happens right at the end of the movie.
Uh-huh.
It's like, okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Nettle.
Anyway, hope you all enjoyed the triple feature.
Yeah, if you were to watch any of them, the Tron one would be a good joke movie to watch. The Thunder Prince might be worth a watch for some level of actual storytelling.
Uh-huh.
Don't watch the train one.
Yeah, Wonders of Frontier was just kind of bad all around and extremely forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's gonna be it.
Yeah. And that's it for the year.
Oh my god.
So join us back here next time as we watch shows, specials, and shorts for the year. We're watching things that don't fit into Animation Pilgrimage properly for the year of 1982.
Yeah, we have a lot to watch.
Yes, we do.
All right, see you then.